So today I want to talk about how not only it is that a man can achieve the ultimate power, what that really means, but what it means when you are tapping into your feminine and how there can be so much confusion or misconception about that. That obviously doesn't mean that you are now going to have your favorite mascara, but this is the true nature of what that means that I want to discuss today, and also what it really means with who leads between, a man and a woman. Does the woman really lead? A little bit, but I want to tell you how and why. This is also the woman or the feminine energy nature within. But if you have ever heard, obviously, I imagine you have, beauty lies in the eye of the beholder, right? Well, so does power. And if a man is not tapped into his true ultimate power, there is no way he is going to see the power in somebody else, such as a woman. If he isn't intuition and the subconscious and your deepest desires, like what your heart wants on this journey, lies in your inner feminine energy. So we all came from a man and a woman. Every single one of us, when we were born here on earth, came from both, and we have both of these energies within. So think of heart and brain, the heart being the woman, the brain being the man, and also your conscious and 3D being the man, and your subconscious and the unseen being the feminine nature, which keep in mind that we are actually ruled by the feminine nature. So the subconscious is 95% of what rules our world. Only what we see in front of us in our conscious and our 3D is such a small percentage. Not only that, we do live on planet Earth, Mother Earth. So she runs through everybody's blood. Spirit runs through us. There is a lot more feminine, but the feminine is what we are going to call the unseen, right? So when you are not tapped into this, you are not tapped into your power and and knowing how to handle the unseen energies. So, one time I was driving down a freeway. This was probably 15 years ago. Okay, this is how I knew that what happens in life happens in the spiritual world first, which we're going to call the feminine energy, the leading energy. This is what this means though, okay? So this is how I knew it happens in the spiritual world first before it happens in 3D, okay? So we do know what's going to happen before it happens. Our higher self, any part of us, our spiritual self does know. So if we are not tuned into this, we are not tuned into our intuition, right? So what happened was I was driving down the freeway and I was in the carpool lane, but it was daytime. There wasn't anybody really in front of me or a lot of traffic or anything. So I was driving and nothing was in front of me, no cars or anything. And I suddenly swerved out of the lane, into the next lane, going, however fast on the freeway. And I was like, why did I do that? Like I jumped out of the way as if there was something right in front of me, like a box or something, right? Like, I don't know what made me swerve out suddenly and go back in, but there was nothing there until I kept driving. And then there was this big black piece of device or something and a box in front of me back in the carpool lane that I swerved out of the lane many, many, many seconds before I even approached it. And that was me saving my own life, my intuition, and me being tapped into my feminine nature that told me, my spiritual self that told me to get out of the way, because if not, going, who knows, 80, 90, however fast on the freeway would have hit that the way that I swerved around. I wouldn't have seen that coming. I got out of that lane well before that happened. I mean, very well before. Like, I was still driving for quite a bit until that even approached. There would be no way for me to know that was coming. So what for a man, to tap into his fullest power, he has to be tapped into his intuition too. So the masculine energy that everybody on this planet holds, we all hold masculine energy and we all hold feminine energy. But the masculine energy is going to, of course, be the more logic, stability, the provider, the protector. Okay? So this is safety. So this is what the masculine energy, just a small portion of what the masculine energy is that we all need to hold, but overall they are the provider of stability and safety and that really grounding energy, right? Whereas the feminine energy is going to be the unseen forces and the chaos and the delusion and a lot of that, and the intuition and the spiritual side. This is consider your heart, okay? So the masculine is going to be more of the brain and the logic. So why a woman's energy leads and what this means for a woman, that the woman does lead, this is energetically mostly, right? So if you have found your match and you guys have a healthy relationship, then the man is the provider, maybe financially in other, ways too. But this isn't what this means. This means that there is safety and protection and that a woman feels safe. What it means for the woman to lead, this means that the energy definitely leads, because women by nature are more intuitive. This is instilled in. There's no way to change that. But a man that is tapped into his feminine nature is highly intuitive as well and can foresee things coming before they come. And he knows the power of the spiritual sense that the woman has, because what happens in the spiritual world, just like I knew that I was going to approach this way before I even got to that on the freeway, a woman's energy does lead. Women do know things are going to happen before it's going to happen. So if a man is tapped into his intuition, he will have this power too. So a man cannot know his true power until he is tapped into this. And he's definitely not going to see it or know that, respect that in a woman or know that power of a woman if he doesn't know it within himself, right? So this is what it means for a woman to lead energies or lead in the relationship. So, men typically don't know until it's too late, right? The woman will be finished in a relationship before it's over, because the man hasn't quite processed that yet, because he's not that tapped into his intuition. He's only mostly in his brain or ego, so he just hears talking, but he's not tapped into his into his heart or emotions or any of that part, right? So that is when a man won't know until it's too late. Then the woman leaves, then down the road he's hurt, right? And doesn't understand how that even happened when it has been clear the whole time. The signs have been there, but he couldn't pick up on them. So if there is a king and a queen and they were informed in their castle that, some other people, knights and horses, whatever, there's going to be some war and they're about to approach their castle's going to get bombed or something, right? But what it would mean if a king and a queen are both in their power, the queen might say, this is what it means for a woman to lead. The queen might say, and every person's different, but I'm speaking energetically, right? So in every relationship and every match and the chemistry between two. But let's just say in a balanced, perfect, ideal, left brain, right brain, masculine, feminine, spiritual, 3D, heart and brain, complete, equal, on both ends match, right? The queen will know intuitively, oh, I feel like they'll be here by 3 o'clock. So we're going to do this and this and this and set up. Then the man is like, I agree and I know you're right because I'm tapped into my intuition. So now I'm going to take action and have everybody, stand ground in their place to protect and do what we have to do, right? So this is what it means to have a woman's energy lead. So a woman leads as in that energy comes first. But when a man is tapped into his own energy of his own power, that he has both, and he knows that very well, that makes his masculine action power overbearingly strong. So when a man is in his power, he's going to lead anyways, in the sense not only of action, but the woman, when she feels safe, this man is so much in his power and so in tune, not only with himself, but with her. Now she feels safe. Okay, now she's safe and protected and has nothing to worry about because she knows that not only she's in her power, that he knows his power. So she is safe. So she can be submissive and trusting and not really have any fear because this man is beyond powers. He knows intuitively that she's right. So what can be very destructive is when everybody, most society in general has been raised on a far more ego-driven masculine energy, right? Where it's all logic. Oh, I have to do this to make money to do this. So this takes us away from our heart and people not doing what they really want to do, what their soul is here to do, what makes them truly happy. This is also the feminine energy. This is nurturing. So men have been neglected or neglecting themselves, but this is how we were raised, right? To neglect emotions, especially men. Well, this also means that women have been highly neglected because they're not being emotionally fulfilled whatsoever, and we are emotions. So, this is what's happening on Mother Earth, our mother. Okay, she is not happy. She has been highly, 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 highly abused. And what she cannot do is take arms of her own. Mother Earth doesn't have arms that she can start picking people apart or picking people off, right? But she's not going to take the abuse anymore. But all she can do is have earthquakes, and she can do a lot, right? But not individually, which makes it our responsibility to take care of our mother and nurture ourselves. This is how we are able to nurture others. So this is every person on this planet job to do this. So we have to help heal Mother Earth because she has an infection, right? So she has dealt with so much abuse. She's traumatized and she needs the help. But this has also what has been happening with the feminine in all men and women. But this has made women, this means women though, have also been highly abused and traumatized by the over masculine energy in society. Doesn't necessarily mean by a person, but the majority of women in some way or another have dealt with, overly ego, narcissism. Men deal with narcissists too. That is from women, that's the toxic masculinity that needs to be healed. And Mother Earth is not having it anymore. And women are not having that anymore. And it's men's job to step into their true nature and in their heart as well. Women live there unconsciously. This is where we are at. We are the nurturers, and men have hearts too. So, when men can step into what their heart's true desires are instead of the ego world, this is how this world starts to become a better place and we have more balanced relationships. Not to mention we are more fulfilled, because we are attracting the things in and the people in and the relationships in that we want, because we're not doing it out of logic or what makes sense. We're doing it because that's what our heart desires. People, if you desire a very rich life of materials and this is part of your path, that doesn't mean that you can't have that if that's what your heart is calling you to do. But your heart will attract these things when you're doing what means the most to you, because this is where our value really lies, in what our heart's desires are. So in a world that has gone so far off course and is still trying to make it where people are not tuned into their heart and kind of like robots, the only way to heal this is to heal within. And the only way to heal within is to open your heart. And the only people who are not willing to heal, if you feel that you have nothing to heal and never have had anything to heal, there's nothing wrong with you. You're probably not tapped into your heart space. You're probably really tapped into your ego, because everybody has things to heal. We were raised in a not healthy way in so many ways, in some form or another. Not to mention, ages 0 to 7 is when we are highly programmable and are programmed. So everything in our subconscious that we don't even realize we're running off of is based on that. And that's why we have to go back to the beginning, back to the basics. Ages 0 to 7, that's in the womb. This is true. This is real stuff right here. So we have to heal abandonment wounds and, boundaries and, what we really want instead of being told what we want. And all of it, we have to tap into our true nature. We are all part of Earth and connected to Mother Earth. And if you have not yet gotten connected, there are ways like Things Grown on Earth that can help anybody tap more into that. So that is one way to do it. But heart chakra meditations and forgiveness, and always root chakra meditations. And if you are not willing to actually do this and go there, then you're not going to heal and you're not going to change it. And if anybody hasn't noticed, we have this big downfall and infection on this planet that the world's trying to fight it. So you're either part of the problem or trying to help heal it for yourself, for your own soul. You don't have to heal the world. All we have to do is heal ourselves. If we're healing ourselves, we're healing the planet. But this is how we achieve the ultimate power. You have no power. The only people who try to take power over other people, from other people, or control other people are people with no power. And those are the over masculinated ego energies. Doesn't mean just men. This is just people that try to take power from others. The only reason people would need to take power from somebody else or have control over somebody is because they don't have it themselves. And the people that don't have it in themselves are not tapped into their true power. And this is because they're not equal balance of both their feminine and their masculine energy. You have to know your power on both ends, or you are imbalanced. You have power, one-sided power, which means there are people who are still way more powerful than you, and you're probably trying to take their power away from them because you don't know your own power. You cannot know your power if your heart is closed. That is the bottom line. And if you're holding on to things from the past, which pretty much everybody is until they go heal that and go do the work, that means you have to start doing root chakra grounding and meditations and balancing. These are the energies we hold from ages 0 to 7 more than anything. So, and this is a time period of life on this planet where our safety, our feeling of being safe is destabilizing more than ever. And this is how we ground. If we are a tree and we want our roots to go deep into the earth, so nothing, no matter what weather, no matter what's happening in the external world, you cannot be moved by some outside force, right? So this is what it means to be in your power. We have to be grounded and rooted, both men and women. That is the masculine nature. That is stability. All women need that stability. So, but men, to know the other power as well, and women though, in order to heal the heart and heal other people, you have to have an open heart. That's the only way for your heart to make space for what you want to come in. Even if it's not relationships, it doesn't matter. Whatever your heart wants, you have to have it open for these things to come in. So this is what it really means by the woman leading, because in my eyes, you lead with your heart and take action with your brain. Your brain doesn't do anything other, well, it does things, but like, it's a messenger, and it receives messages and it gives messages on what to do, but you lead with your heart and take action with your brain. So this is also having a balance of left brain and right brain. And I wanted to give another example of what it means for a man to be tapped into his intuition or not. And it is really destructive. And what we're trying to heal on this planet, by the way, is when a man or woman, this is either way, actually, I should say it both ways, because there are a lot of women who deny men's intuition that are tapped into it. But when a man also taps in, denies a woman's intuition, that's what it means to not be tapped in, because there are plenty of times the woman does know usually what she's talking about. That's what it means by letting her lead. But if you are in your power and you are then you're intuitive, then you're with someone you can trust, and you can hand that trust over to the woman. Just like if the woman feels safe, she can hand that trust to you, right? So the point of that message was that everybody needs to trust that the other partner is balanced in both the stability and action and the intuition, right? But if you're doubting your partner and that they are tapped in, then it's on either end. If you're the man or the woman, that is not going to work. You have to have trust on both ends, period. So just like the woman needs to feel safe in order to embrace and be in, her goddess power, but she also has to make the energy, the feminine energy of the man feel safe as well, that he can express his emotions, and he's also not getting shut down on his intuition if this is something he's working on tapping into. So I will throw that in there as well. But another way to describe, what it means by the woman energy leading or the feminine or being tapped into your power is my dog's dad, in the past, when we lived together one time, I came home and the bottom of the door was broken. And I was like, what happened? And, he said that there was something behind the door and the door was stuck, and he reacted really fast and thought that there was somebody in the house maybe, and broke the door. So when he was trying to open it, because he went to open it, it was stuck. So the bottom of the door was broken because he thought there was like an intruder or something, right? He didn't know why it was stuck. So that was acting completely from logic, right? So when he told me this, a little bit after, something started clicking, and I was like, wait a second, this happened to me before. And the same thing, and the door stuck, and I was like, what's going on? Like, why won't it open? And I paused, okay, and honed in and had to really pick up on whether or not there was actually a threat inside the house. And my intuition says no. So I didn't need to force the door open. So I could maneuver it and be like, hey, what's going on? Hi, Bubba. Like, yeah, my dog was still there and everything was fine. But this is also another example of taking action without being tuned and tapped in. So what I always say is that the father is the giver of strength, which we all have a mother and a father. So the father energy, this masculine energy, is the giver of strength, and the mother teaches you how to use it. So you can take a hit all you want, but if you're not doing it at the right time or the right place and you don't know what you're doing, if you just hit somebody's, hand instead of, taking out their eyeballs or knowing when to execute that move type of thing, right? So this is what it means to be tapped into your feminine energy. This is why it gives you power, but it also tunes you into the spiritual world. And an unhealthy, balance of the feminine energy in a woman is the same. The wounded feminine is manipulative or weak or pretends to be weak, so they're just not tuned in. There are women who are not very tuned in to their intuition, although it does come by nature. They are just not tuned in because there are blockages or traumas or etc., right? But I definitely wanted to speak what that especially means to be tapped into your goddess energy, between the god and the goddess, because there are a lot of unseen forces, and this is also that energy. So you will not be able to be tuned into those, but those things can tune into you. This is why a woman always knows before it happens, or what's really happening behind closed doors. You cannot see love, but you can feel it, right? So you have to tune in and tap into your heart. This is what it means to be tuned in, and this is also for protection and to be able to see through things and see through people when people are not really, when what they're saying doesn't match up, or somebody's trying to manipulate you. You have got to be tapped in. This is what it really means to be tapped into the goddess and feminine energy. The feminine energy, a wounded feminine energy, is manipulative and not cool. The masculine energy, wounded, is, over egotistical and cares about the outside, not what his heart really wants, or cares what other people think. And this is for he or she, anybody who's overly into their masculine energy. And women have had to not only provide for themselves and others, because we are nurturers by heart. We've had to do a lot of this. Just like Mother Earth has dealt with a lot of abuse, women have dealt with a lot of abuse, a lot, in many, many ways. It doesn't have to be hand to face or any other physical abuse to be abused. And I know that men have too, by these energies of the wounded of both sides. But this is why we also need men to heal Mother Earth, to tap into this energy as well, not only for them to know their power, but to heal. It's not a competition who leads, the god or the goddess or the man or the woman. We need both. A man is fully in his power when he's tapped into this energy. A woman is fully in her power when she knows her worth and she feels, we have to be able to provide for ourselves what we want or expect from others. This is how we heal either the masculine or feminine energy on either end. If we need, more financial support, we have to be willing to supply that for ourselves. If we need more nurturing and care of our emotions, we have to be willing to supply this for ourselves if we are wanting to receive this from others. We have to have it in our cup in order to give it to others and therefore receive that as well. So, another last example I do want to give, since this is especially about the, masculine, feminine energy. I don't know if this holds true at all departments, but I do remember seeing a video online that was of a police officers, it was police officers going into after going in after somebody in some building, and they had it all on camera. And a woman had commented on there, I noticed that they always send the woman first. Interesting, but you can tell she had seen other videos. I think she was referring to this specific police department. There was a few instances within a short amount of time that something happened, and I don't know if this is the case with every department everywhere by any means. Maybe it was just this one, but if that were true, that would make sense, because a woman's intuition, for her to go first, would be able to pick up by nature on that more than, more so than the men. And not to mention that line of work, you're not really tapped into your heart as it is, right? But that would make sense. So this is what it means by the woman leads, because she does. Her intuition and energy, we are ruled by the mother. But in a sense, when a man is in a power, yes, he can make the ultimate calls and shots and decisions because she's safe. She can set back and do the spiritual work or do whatever work that she's doing here as a woman and a goddess and a mother, or whatever her part is. She can comfortably play her part and let the man lead and have control and power in any way that the two people decide is the best way to do that. So, but when she feels unsafe, or he's doubting her power, or he's trying to take control over this because he's not tapped into the intuition or how she feels about it or what's going on with her, she doesn't feel safe. And what happens is this world has tried to take control over people so much. That's abuse. And that's what our world's been going through. That's what Mother Earth has been going through. Greed and ego and material stuff that has nothing to do with spirit or the heart or what our soul's plan and path is. And it's been very led astray. So I am not trying to pinpoint any type of toxic masculinity or, on the person or either side. This is just, what it means to be honed in on both of these and where the true power lies. It's not one-sided. It's not that the woman is always in charge and, yes, the woman by nature leads energetically, just like the spiritual world. That's your mother energy also, knows what's going to happen. This is what it means by lead. If a woman is in her power and leading by that, then the man can know and trust that as well. So it goes on both ends. Everybody needs to be tapped into both sides to have a balance within in order to attract the deepest desires and what one really wants without, because everything happens in the subconscious first, or that's what's controlling us. So if you've ever heard everything happens, you have to be good within in order to see those results externally. This is what that means. This is having an energetic balance of both. So I think that is going to be it for the messages today, and I will catch you guys on the next one.